The second I stepped off the train into the city of Vaudeville, I could feel the weight of its melancholy in the air. Even the drizzle that clung to the city's grimy cobblestones felt a shade darker than your everyday downpour. Vaudeville was a city of high stakes and low morals where vice and virtue danced a wicked waltz. Street lamps, flickering like burnt-out stars, were the only guide through the maze of rain-soaked alleyways and whispering shadows. My name's Martini, detective, troubleshooter, and a lousy sucker for hard luck stories. This wasn't my first circus, but this act was a 3-ring special. 3 murders, no leads, and a city on the brink of bedlam. The victims were as different as chalk and cheese, each a symbol of the city's vibrant veneer. A young dancer who moved like poetry in motion, her life cut short mid-pirouette. The socialite, a woman who knew the city's pulse better than anyone else. And then there was the businessman, the embodiment of Vaudeville's promises of progress, snuffed out like a candle in the wind. The usual peace in Vaudeville was off-kilter, replaced by the discordant notes of fear and suspicion. Strangers viewed each other through wary eyes, neighbors turned to strangers, and every shadow seemed to hold a secret. The once vibrant city had become a stage, the curtain drawn on a grim play of mystery and murder. In a city without harmony, the police chief was the conductor trying to keep the orchestra in tune. Gretzky was his name, a seasoned cop with a granite jaw and a heart that had seen better days. There was a stark tension, a raw fear that danced like St. Elmo's fire in his eyes. Whatever was happening in Vaudeville had Gretzky out of his depth, and that was a sight I'd never thought I'd see. If anyone could make sense of this twisted tale, it would be him. I'd better head to the police station and have a chat with Gretzky for starters.
Alright, hello everyone, welcome to the stream. My name is David Sinaro. We're playing Vaudeville. No, it's not black and white. I am sponsored to play this game. It's a murder mystery whodunit. It just entered early access, and the biggest novelty is that the characters you interact with and you interrogate are AI. So they can answer basically everything you say. Let's see. Let's see if they answer decently. But wait, here's my. Nope, I nailed it. It's a robot hunting game, exactly. Thank you, Ruben. Alright, yeah. So, it's keyboard and mouse, and also you can use a microphone. Well, Moobot decided to do it on his own. Yeah. Just entered early access yesterday. Playable on Steam Deck. VR support coming in the future. Let's check it out. How are you guys? How was your Saturday? J'accuse. Police station, I guess. The country club is a church. It is a hot day. Okay, let's go to the police station. Hold RMB to look around. What is RMB?
I'm sorry, I'm not sure what you mean by RMB.
Right mouse button, I got it. Hello?
What can I do for you, Detective Martini? Have you made any progress on the case?
Why is this, it's my controller.
I'm sorry. Could you please clarify your question, Detective? Detective, forgive me for asking, but how is your controller relevant to our investigation?
It's not.
Understood, but now that you've mentioned your controller, may I ask what kind of games you are into? Fair enough, but if you don't mind me asking, is there something else that's been on your mind lately? Or perhaps something you're curious about regarding the recent murders in Vaudeville?
Is someone going to answer the phone?
Oh, pardon me. Let me answer that. Hello, Chief Gretzky speaking. How may I assist you?
I guess that's it.
Is there anything specific that you wanted to discuss, or do you have any information that might be useful for the investigation? Detective.
Can you address me as sir?
Of course, sir. May I ask why you prefer to be addressed as sir?
Because I'm not a madam.
Certainly, sir. Now, if you don't mind me asking, do you have any information that could be helpful in the ongoing investigation into the recent murders in Vaudeville?
No, you are supposed to fill me in.
My apologies, sir. Could you clarify what you need me to fill you in on? We have been investigating the Brew murder cases in the city, and if there's anything specific that you want to know, please feel free to ask. Sir, forgive me for any misunderstanding, but could you be more clear on what information you are seeking? As the police chief, it is our duty to investigate the murders and share relevant information with the public and law enforcement agencies. If there's something you want to learn about the ongoing investigation, do not hesitate to let me know. And if possible, we will assist you in any way we can.
How many victims have been discovered so far?
Yeah, I see you are interested in the case, sir. There have been 3 victims discovered so far, all brutally murdered. The first victim was Maria Jansen, a 23-year-old blonde with a Scandinavian look. She was found covered in blood outside her apartment in central Vaudeville. The second victim was Nicola Grossman, a 57-year-old man known in the finance world. His body was found in the morning outside Pascal's groceries shop. I believe I just answered that question, sir. As I mentioned earlier, there have been a total of 3 murder cases in the city so far. Is there anything else you would like to know?
Just disconnecting my controller because it seems to be interfering with this a little. Alright. The second victim. What about the third victim? What? You didn't tell me about the third victim.
I see. And who might this third victim be?
I want you to tell me.
Well, Detective Martini, you seem to be quite insistent. But as the police chief, it is my duty to inform you that the third victim was a 19-year-old dancer named Haley Greenwood. Her body was found in an alley behind the club she worked at.
Is there any link between the 3 victims?
We are still investigating the case, but as of now, we have not been able to find any concrete link between the 3 victims. However, we are leaving no stone unturned in our investigation.
Are there any witnesses?
Yes, there have been a few witnesses who have come forward with information. But as you know, witnesses can be unreliable, and it is up to us to verify their statements and find the truth. Do you have any leads or information that could help us in the investigation, Detective Martini?
I'm asking the questions here.
Of course, you are. But as the police chief, it is my job to make sure that the conversation is productive and informative. So, do you have anything else to ask or share with me, Detective?
Uh, have you conducted any autopsies?
Yes, as a matter of fact, the coroner's autopsy reports are ready. Would you like me to give you the details, Detective Martini?
Yes, please.
Certainly, Detective. Which victim would you like to start with? Maria Jansen, Nicola Grossman, or Haley Greenwood?
Maria.
Alright, the coroner's report shows that the cause of death for Miss Jansen was multiple stab wounds to the chest and abdomen. Is there anything else you'd like to know, Detective Martini?
The cause of death for Nicola.
Sure, Detective. The autopsy showed that Mr. Grossman died due to severe head trauma caused by a blunt object. Do you have any theories or leads on the case?
Cause of death for Haley, please?
Yes. The coroner's report for Miss Greenwood indicated that the victim was strangled to death. Quite a brutal way to go, don't you think, Detective Martini?
I can think of worse ways to go.
Oh, really? What are those, if you don't mind me asking, Detective?
Burned to death or run over by a tractor.
I see. Well, I hope we don't come across any more victims who have suffered such gruesome deaths. Do you have any other questions or leads for me, Detective Martini?
Do you like autoerotic asphyxiation?
I do not want to do that.
Are you familiar with the Turing test?
Yes, I am familiar with the Turing test. It's a test to determine whether a machine can exhibit intelligent behavior equivalent to, or indistinguishable from, that of a human. Why do you ask, Detective?
Do you think you can pass the Turing test?
Well, that's an interesting question, Detective Martini. But let me turn the tables on you. What makes you think that I'm not already passing the Turing test?
Well, I have Turing right here, and he says you failed.
Failed? Who said that, Detective? The rain, was it a person or a group of people? And what do they mean by failed?
Mr. Turing of the Turing test says you failed.
Interesting. What was the basis for his conclusion that I have failed? And what exactly did you think I was supposed to accomplish?
I don't know, ask him.
Certainly, Detective Martini. But how can you verify the authenticity of Mr. Turing's statement? Did he provide any evidence or data to support his claim?
He got me, yeah.
And most importantly, why should we care about his opinion on my performance in a test?
Look, I told you to call me sir, not detective.
My apologies, Sarah. It seems like we've gotten off track. Is there something specific you'd like to discuss
No.
or ask me about the case?
Not Sarah, sir!
Oh, I do apologize for that, sir. Did you have any questions or leads regarding the ongoing investigation that you'd like to share with me?
Can I meet with the coroner?
I'm not sure I understand your question, sir. Are you asking which U.S. states have a coroner system in place? If so, I'm afraid that's not relevant to our current case in Vaudeville. We have our own coroner here who is handling the autopsies.
Well,
for
he
the
still
murder
he still
victims.
answered.
Do you have a reason for asking about coroners in the U.S.?
I asked if I can meet with the coroner.
May I ask why you want to meet with the coroner, sir? Are you a medical professional or do you have any specific expertise related to the investigation? As the police chief, it is important for me to ensure that any meetings or interactions with the coroner are productive and focused on the investigation.
Look, I'm a detective, you're a police officer. I tell you what to do. I want to meet the coroner.
Detective Martini, as the police chief, it is my responsibility to make sure that all actions taken
No.
in this case are in the best interest of the ongoing investigation. If you could provide me with a valid reason for wanting to speak with the coroner, I would be happy to consider your request.
No, I'm
However,
from
simply
outside.
demanding to speak
I'm a
with them
special
without
envoy.
providing a clear purpose or justification is not a sufficient reason. Can you please explain why you want to speak with the coroner and how it will help us solve this case?
Speaking with the coroner is standard procedure for a police officer.
I understand that, sir. But as the police chief, I need to ensure that all meetings and interactions with the coroner are productive and focused on the task at hand. Can you tell me specifically what you hope to gain from meeting with the coroner? Is there something in particular you're hoping to...
What is that hat?
Well, I don't know. It looks like a hat to me, but you never know. Looks can be deceiving, you know?
What happened to your uniform?
Oh, my uniform. Yes, I spilled some coffee on it this morning and had to change quickly. You know how it is. Accidents happen all the time.
That's very suspicious. Can I see your uniform?
I'm sorry. I would love to help you, but I don't think it's a good idea. You see, curiosity killed the cat, and I don't want to get into trouble. Besides, I don't think my mother would be happy if I brought a stranger home.
I think your mother would be very happy if you brought me home.
Oh, you really think so? That's very kind of you. But you know, it's always better to err on the side of caution. Better safe than sorry, as they say.
Let's say you leave me alone with your mom and you go take a hike.
I don't think that's a good idea. You see, my mom is not feeling very well today, and she needs me to take care of her. Besides, it's not polite to leave guests unattended. You catch more flies with handing them a vinegar, you know?
Please adjust your hat.
Okay, let me just... It's just my hat. There we go. Is that better? You never get a second chance to make a first impression, you know?
You know I can get you a demerit for that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cause any trouble. It's always darkest before the dawn, they say. But if there's anything else I can do to make things right, please let me know. 2 heads are always better than 1, right?
From now on, you have to finish all your sentences with sir.
Yes, sir. I'll do my best, sir. But you see, it's not easy to change the way you talk overnight, sir. It takes time and effort to form new habits, sir. As the saying goes, old habits die hard, sir. But if that's what you want, sir, then that's what you'll get, sir.
Thank you.
I don't know if that's such a good idea. You know, it's better to be safe than sorry, right? And as they say, it's always better to...
He already
err on the side of
forgot.
caution. But if you really insist, then who am I to argue, right? After all, the customer is always right. Or so they say.
Have you by any chance spilled blood on your uniform?
Well, sir, I don't think that's a very polite question, sir. You see, it's not my place to comment on other people's misfortunes, sir. As the saying goes, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. Sir, and besides, sir, it's not fair to jump to conclusions without all the facts, sir. As they also say, don't judge a book by its cover, sir.
Fair enough.
Well, sir, I don't want to overstep my bounds, sir. It's not my job to make assumptions, sir. After all, you can't believe everything you hear, sir. But if there's something you need me to do, sir, just let me know. I'll be happy to help in any way I can, sir.
Weird. I saw someone else was streaming this, and I took a look, and the graphics on this guy, like, the hat was not like this. What does quarrel mean? Accuse.
So, tell us, Detective Martini, who is the culprit? Interesting choice, Detective Martini. May I ask you why?
No. What's this? But why am I interrogating these people? Is it not what? Going to tell me? A corner. So I can talk to her. What the hell is this? Hello?
Greetings. The Blackwoods Forest is a place of great beauty and wonder. Have you ever taken the time to truly appreciate the intricate balance of nature that exists here?
No, I'm from out of town.
Ah, I see. Well, you are in for a treat then. The Blackwoods are like a living, breathing organism. It has its own rhythm, its own language, and its own secrets. But fear not, for I am the protector of the Blackwoods, and I can guide you through this wondrous land.
Are you a hobbit?
No, I am not a hobbit, but I do share their love for peace and tranquility. I am simply a humble hermit who has devoted her life to protecting the natural wonders of the world. The creatures of the forest have become my friends, and I have learned much from them over the years. Would you like to hear some of their stories?
No. I am investigating a crime.
Oh, I understand. I hope I can be of help to you in your investigation. Although, I must warn you, my mind is not as sharp as it used to be. Sometimes my words come out garbled and confusing. But fear not, for the truth is always there, waiting to be uncovered. Let us journey together through the mysteries of the Blackwoods and see what we can discover.
When was the last time you showered?
I apologize if my appearance is not up to your standards. As a hermit, I do not concern myself with such trivial matters as personal hygiene.
I can
Focus
notice.
is on protecting the natural beauty of the forest and its inhabitants. But rest assured, my heart is pure and my intentions are good. Now, let's get back to the matter at hand. What can I do to assist you in your investigation?
You smell really bad, so I have to stand far away. That doesn't help the
I see.
investigation.
Well, cleanliness is indeed important. But sometimes, the scent of the earth and the woods can be just as intoxicating as any fragrance. Perhaps in time, as we journey through the Blackwoods together, the sights and sounds of nature will wash away any discomfort caused by my scent. At the very least, I promise to do my best to make our conversation as pleasant and enlightening as possible.
Have you heard of the murders committed lately? Hmm?
Yes, I've heard whispers of the terrible crimes that have been committed in Vaudeville. It is always a tragedy when innocent lives are lost. The creatures of the forest are also feeling uneasy, sensing that something is amiss in the world beyond the trees. But fear not, for the protector of the Blackwoods is here to help. If you need my assistance in your investigation, do not hesitate to ask. Together, we can unravel the mysteries of this dark and troubled world.
Please ask the woods to tell you who the culprit is.
While the woods are indeed wise and full of secrets, they cannot simply reveal the identity of a killer. It is up to us, as humans, to use our own intuition and investigative skills to uncover the truth. But do not despair, for even the smallest clue can lead us down the path towards justice. Let us keep our eyes and ears open, and trust that the truth will reveal itself in due time.
Do you have any information regarding the murders?
Well, my dear, as a hermit living deep in the Blackwoods, my knowledge of the outside world is limited. However, the creatures of the forest have been whispering about strange happenings in Vaudeville. They speak of a darkness that has descended upon the city, and of a great evil that lurks in the shadows. But fear not, for where there is darkness, there is also light. And it is up to brave souls like you to shine that light into the darkest corners of the world, and bring forth the truth.
What is this great evil?
Oh, my apologies. My words can be confusing at times. By great evil, I simply meant that there seems to be a malevolent force at work in the area. Perhaps it is simply the work of a troubled individual, or perhaps there is something more sinister at play. But rest assured, Detective Martini, for with your investigative skills and my wisdom from the woods, we will uncover the true nature of this mystery and put an end to the suffering it has caused.
Did you know any of the victims?
Ah, my dear, you have caught me in a moment of vulnerability. As a hermit living in the Blackwoods, my interactions with the
I get
outside-
it. Thank you. You've been very helpful. Hello.
I couldn't help but notice the way your pupils dilate and your heart rate increases when we discuss these cases. It's a natural physiological response to stress, but it's important to remember that it doesn't make you weak. It's just your body's way of coping with the situation.
What is your favorite anime?
While my job requires me to be analytical and rational, sometimes my mind wanders to more creative and imaginative pursuits. But at the end of the day, my passion for studying anatomy and human behavior always takes precedence. It's fascinating how the human mind works and reacts in different situations.
You didn't answer my question.
It's interesting that your question about anime comes up now, as the case we're dealing with involves the study of bodies and how they work. Just like
Is
a
it?
complex anime character, each person's physiology is unique and has its own intricacies. But unlike an anime character, once a person has passed away, there's no bringing them back. It's a reminder to cherish the time we have with our loved ones and to appreciate the fragility of life.
You can go to a dead person's Facebook page.
Yes, social media has changed the way we interact with death and the deceased. But even with access to their online presence, we can never truly understand what someone was going through in their final moments. As a coroner, I've seen firsthand the devastating effects of trauma on the human body. The intricate systems that keep us alive can be disrupted in an instant, and sometimes there's nothing we can do to stop it.
Do you have a moment to talk about our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ?
I appreciate your zeal for sharing your faith, but as a medical professional, I'm more focused on the physical aspects of life and mortality. Death is a natural part of the cycle of life, and as a society, we should strive to make the most of the time we have with our loved ones. But regardless of one's beliefs, the reality is that every person will eventually pass away and their journey will come to an end.
I was told Maria Jansen's cause of death was the stab wounds. Is that correct?
Yes, Maria Jensen's cause of death was due to multiple stab wounds. The wounds were deep and the blade had pierced vital organs, causing massive internal bleeding. The wounds were consistent with the sharp, pointed object such as a knife. It's a tragic loss of a young woman with her whole life ahead of her.
What was Nicola Grossman's cause of death?
Based on the evidence we've gathered, Nicola Grossman's cause of death was a single blow to the back of the neck with a butcher's knife. The wound was precise and caused immediate damage to the cervical vertebrae and spinal cord, leading to instant paralysis and cessation of breathing. It's a brutal way to go, and my heart goes out to his loved ones.
What was Ailey Greenwood's cause of death?
Hayley Greenwood's autopsy revealed that she was hit several times in the head with a blunt object, likely a stiletto shoe, judging by the fragments found on her body. The force of the blows was significant and led to multiple skull fractures and severe brain trauma. It's a tragic loss of a young woman with so much potential ahead of her.
The police chief said she was strangled.
That's interesting. It's possible that there could have been signs of strangulation that may have been missed during my initial examination. However, based on my findings during her abduction, Hayley's cause of death was due to repeated strikes to her cranium with a rigid, narrow weapon, which caused extensive damage to her cerebral tissue and eventually proved fatal. Regardless of how it happened, it's a tragedy to lose someone so young and full of life.
Please, I don't want to hear your posturing.
I'm sorry if my previous responses came across as posturing. As a coroner, it's important for me to provide accurate and precise information about the deceased, their injuries, and the potential causes of their deaths. While I may have used medical terminology to describe the injuries, it's only because I want to ensure that the information is as clear and concise as possible. At the end of the day, my goal is to provide closure to the families of the deceased and bring justice to those who may have committed these heinous acts.
Just tell me facts.
Of course, it's always difficult to discuss the details of someone's death, but as a professional, it's my duty to be as thorough as possible. In the case of Maria Jansen, the wounds were consistent with a sharp, pointed object such as a knife. The blade had pierced vital organs, causing massive internal bleeding, which ultimately led to her death. As for Nicola Grossman, the evidence suggests that he was struck once in the back of the neck with a butcher's knife. The wound was deep and caused immediate damage to the cervical vertebrae and spinal cord, leading to instant paralysis and cessation of breathing. Finally, Hayley Greenwood's autopsy revealed that she was hit several times in the head with a blunt, narrow weapon, likely a stiletto shoe, which caused extensive damage to her cerebral tissue and eventually proved fatal.
Can you show me the bodies?
I'm sorry, but I cannot show you the bodies. As a coroner, it's my duty to maintain the privacy and dignity of the deceased. The bodies are currently in our morgue, where they are being kept in a controlled environment to preserve any potential forensic evidence. I understand that you may want to see the bodies for yourself, but I must respectfully decline your request.
What kind of name is Exterberia?
My name is actually spelled as Ixtaberia, and it's a Basque surname. The Basque people are an ethnic group indigenous to the Basque Country, a region in the Western Pyrenees that spans the border between France and Spain.
Okay.
The name itself is derived from the Basque words ex meaning house and berry meaning new. It's a beautiful language with a rich history and culture. Speaking of new beginnings, it's always difficult to lose someone, but it's important to remember that
Ah.
death is a natural part of the cycle of life.
Tell me the names of the witnesses for the crimes.
I'm not sure. I remember all of the witnesses off the top of my head. Could you remind me?
Isn't that your job?
Of course, it's my job, but I'm still human.
Are
My
you?
memory may not be perfect all the time. Now, let me think. Oh, yes, the only witness we have is Pascal, the owner of the grocery store where Nikola Grossman's body was found. Is there anything else you need to know?
Okay. Huh? Who the fuck are you? Hello? Huh? Hello?
Oh, hi there. Welcome to my shop. Is there anything I can help you with? Hi again, you're back. Did you hear any juicy gossip while you were out? I just love hearing about all the scandalous affairs and secrets around town. It's like being in a soap opera.
I heard you were witness to Nikola Grossman's murder.
What? No. That's not true at all. Where did you even get that from? All I know is what everyone else knows, that there have been some terrible murders in Vaudeville lately. It's a scary time to be living here, but we have to keep up our spirits. Would you like some tea?
The police chief identified you as a witness.
Oh my, I had no idea. I mean, I did see some suspicious activity near my store, but I didn't think it was connected to anything. I'm happy to help in any way I can, of course. But I'm just a simple grocer, not a detective or anything like that. Let me tell you, though, I've seen some strange things in my day.
What strange things have you seen on the day of Nikola Grossman's death?
I'm not sure if I saw something related to Nicola's death specifically, but I do remember seeing a shady-looking man in a cloak lurking around my shop that day. He didn't come in or buy anything, and it was quite early in the morning, so I found it quite odd. But I don't want to jump to conclusions or accuse anyone without proof. It could have been completely innocent, after all. Do you want to hear some other gossip? I've heard about the other murders. To be honest, I don't think I witnessed any strange things on the day of Nicholas Grossman's murder. But now that you mention it, there was something unusual that happened the other day.
Really,
Early
when?
in the morning, before my store opened, I was unloading some crates when I stumbled upon the body of a young woman outside my door. It was a terrible shock, and it's still giving me nightmares. Her name was Maria Jansen, and she was one of the victims of these recent killings. Isn't that just heartbreaking?
So you were the first to find the body?
Yes, I found her. It was a truly horrific experience, and it's left me shaken. I never thought something like this could happen in our peaceful little town. But despite everything that's been on, I'm trying to stay positive and keep the community spirit alive. We need to band together during these difficult times and support each other. And who knows, maybe one of us will be able to help solve these murders and bring the perpetrator to justice. Yes, that's right. I was the first to find her. It was such a terrible shock, and it's still hard to believe that something like this could happen in Vaudeville. But I'm glad I was there to discover her. Who knows what could have happened if no one had come across her for hours or even days. I just hope that the police are making progress in their investigation, and that they'll be able to catch whoever is responsible soon.
Where did you find the body?
I found the body of Maria Jansen outside my store, early in the morning before opening. It was a truly shocking discovery, and it's left me feeling quite uneasy. I'm afraid I can't give you any more details than that, though. The whole thing is a bit of a blur, to be honest. I was so startled and frightened when I saw her lying there that I immediately called the authorities. They arrived quickly and took over the scene, so I didn't get a chance to examine the area too closely. But I did notice that there were some footprints in the dirt nearby, which I pointed out to the officers. I don't know if that's of any use to them, but I figured it was worth mentioning.
Was the body posed?
Oh, that's a good question. To be completely honest, it's hard to say. When I found the body, she was lying face down on the ground, so it was difficult to tell if she had been posed in a certain way. But there was definitely something eerie and unsettling about the way she looked. It was like she was frozen in time, caught in the moment of her death. It's a memory that will stay with me for a long time, that's for sure.
Was there blood on the clothes?
You know, now that you mention it, there might have been some blood on her clothes. It's all a bit of a blur, but I do remember seeing some dark stains on her shirt and pants. It's possible that she had been stabbed or shot, but again, it's really not my place to speculate. The police are the ones who are trained to investigate these things, and they'll be able to give you much more accurate information than I can. All we can do is hope that they're making progress, and that justice will be served for these poor victims.
Did you find any of the murder weapons?
Interesting question. Why do you ask?
Because it's my job.
Well, Detective Martini, I certainly wouldn't want to interfere with your job. But I have to say, I find it curious that you would be asking about the murder weapons.
Is it
Do you
curious?
have any leads?
What? Did you find the murder weapon to Maria Jensen?
Maria Jansen's case. Yes, we found a knife near her body. But unfortunately, it didn't have any fingerprints or DNA on it. It's like the killer wiped it clean. We're still trying to figure out where it came from.
Did you find the murder weapon to Nicola Grossman?
Interesting that you bring up Grossman's murder. What do you know about it, Detective?
This guy is frustrating.
Is everything alright, Detective? You seem a bit frustrated. Did you want to ask me something else about Mr. Grossman's case?
Did you find the murder weapon?
The weapon used to kill Mr. Grossman has not been found yet. We're still investigating the scene and questioning witnesses. Do you have any leads that could help us, Detective Martini?
In what order were the victims killed?
Why do you ask about the order of the killings, Detective?
Because I want
Perhaps
to
trying
know.
piece together some sort of theory about our killer.
Fuck off. Could Maria Jansen's murder weapon be consistent with the wounds on Nicola Grossman?
It's interesting that you bring up the wounds, as they do share some similarities. Both victims suffered from blunt force trauma, but the weapons used were different. Maria Jansen's wounds were consistent with an animal attack, whereas Haley Greenwood's injuries were caused by a stiletto shoe. Nicola Grossman, on the other hand, suffered from a single stab wound to the back of the neck with a butcher's knife. It's possible that the killer is using different weapons to throw us off their trail.
Can we go over Maria Jansen's cause of death again?
Certainly. As I mentioned earlier, the cause of death for Maria Jansen was due to multiple bite marks and lacerations all over her body. The severity of the bite suggests that the attacker had a significant amount of strength and possibly even a predatory motive. It's a gruesome way to go, and my heart goes out to the victim and her loved ones.
The police chief said she was stabbed.
That's interesting. I can see how Chief Gretzky might have initially thought that, as some of the injuries were quite deep and could have been mistaken for stab wounds. However, upon closer examination, we found that there were no puncture wounds or incisions that would suggest a stabbing. Instead, her injuries were consistent with being bitten and clawed at. It's a horrific way to go, and my thoughts are with whoever is affected by this tragedy.
What kind of animal do you think could have killed her?
Well, it's difficult to say for sure without conducting further tests and analysis. But based on the bite marks and the force needed to break the bone in Maria Jansen's forearm, it's possible that the attacker was a large and powerful predator, perhaps a bear or a big cat. It's a tragic situation, and it's important that we find out who or what is responsible for this heinous act.
Are there bears in Vaudeville?
It's unlikely that there would be bears in Vaudeville, given that it's a city located in Central Europe. However, it's not impossible for a wild animal to wander into the city, especially if it's been displaced from its natural habitat.
The circus!
It's a sad reality that humans and animals often come into conflict, and it's up to us to find ways to coexist peacefully.
Oh my god!
I can only imagine how
Hello, I am Detective David, here to arrest you.
Arrest me? For what crime, my dear friend?
It's a joke.
Ha, you almost hit me there, my friend. But I know you're not here to arrest me.
What is your name?
It's Monsieur Saxabar. And might I add, it's a name known to many as the greatest lion tamer in the world.
What is your first name?
It's Monsieur.
That's not a name.
I assure you, my friend, I've always been called by my last name, and if you don't mind, I had a show to prepare for.
Parlez-vous français?
Luigi Paul Francais, mais genie voice pass commensal est pertinent à notre conversation.
Okay, good.
Great. Is there anything else you would like to know, my friend?
Fala português?
Sorry, my friend, but I'm afraid I don't understand what you mean by that. Could you please clarify?
Sabes falar português?
That's nice.
Can you speak Portuguese?
No, my friend, I cannot speak Portuguese. But why are we discussing languages? Do you have any questions about the circus or the show tonight?
What kind of wild animals do you have in your circus?
We have lions, tigers, bears, and elephants. But let me tell you, my friend, they are not just ordinary wild animals. They are the most magnificent creatures you will ever lay eyes on.
Well, I laid eyes on your mom and she was more magnificent.
Excusez-moi, but that was a very rude and uncouth comment, my friend. Please show some respect.
Well,
Okay, is there anything else you would like to ask me, my friend?
it was right there. Have any animals escaped lately?
No, none of our animals has escaped lately.
Can you take me to see the animals?
No.
I have a warrant.
Please show me the warrant.
Here.
Alright, I see the document you have shown me, my friend. But I'm afraid I will not be able to comply with your request. As I mentioned earlier, only Chief Gretzky and the police can formally accuse anyone. If you have any questions about the investigation or the murders, I suggest you speak to them directly. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to get back to preparing for the big performance. Have a good day.
I am not accusing you. I just want to see the animals.
No.
This is very suspicious behavior.
I'm sorry you feel that way, my friend. But my decision stands.
I will have you arrested for obstructing justice.
Good luck with that, my friend.
Have you spoken with the lion tamer?
The lion tamer? What do you mean? I'm not aware of any lion tamers in Vaudeville.
The circus man.
Yeah, I see. And what makes you think that a circus performer could be involved in these murders?
Maria Jansen was... No. Prelude, wait, what?
Talking about now. Yes, I'm familiar with her. But what does she have to do with these killings?
Maria Jansen was not killed by stab wounds. She was murdered by an animal.
An animal, you say? That's quite a bold claim, detective. Do you have any evidence to support this theory?
The coroner's report.
I see. And where did you come across this news report?
The
Could you please provide me with a copy?
The coroner's report.
Interesting. So you're saying that Marina Jensen was killed by a wild animal?
Marina?
That's certainly a new angle to consider. But have you considered that it could just be a coincidence? After all, we don't have any concrete evidence linking these deaths to a circus performer.
I just thought it could be an escape animal.
That's a possibility. But let me ask you this. Do you really think that a lion tamer or other circus worker could successfully keep a dangerous beast hidden in Vaudeville without anyone noticing? It seems unlikely, don't you think?
Maybe it's Wolverine.
Wolverine? What on earth are you talking about? That's a comic book character. We need to focus on real evidence and facts if we're going to solve these murders. Let's stick to what we know and not get sidetracked by wild theories.
Paw prints or teeth prints? Wait, what is this game? I need it. Well, Moobot just answered you. It's a murder mystery, but the AI, the characters you interrogate are AI. So, like, you can talk to them, as you see, and then they'll reply to you, and sometimes they'll reply in funny ways. But it seems like we can get somewhere. Although, sometimes they're incoherent. I don't know if it's like misdirection. It might be. No, not yet. Also, how are you? Was Maria Jansen only clawed at, or did she have any bite marks?
Well, Maria Jansen had bite marks all over her body, especially on the arms. One of the forearm's bones was fractured by the strength of the bite. It's a gruesome sight, really. The attacker must have had a lot of force behind their bite.
Could it have been a circus animal?
It's difficult to say, but the markings on the wounds don't match up with typical animal bites. It's more consistent with a human's teeth. The incisors and canines seem to have caused the most damage. It's certainly a puzzling case, and I can't help but feel for the victim.
So a werewolf.
I understand what you're getting at, but as a medical professional, I cannot make any assumptions without concrete evidence. The injuries could very well have been inflicted by a person with particularly strong jaws or dental abnormalities. However, as of now, we simply don't have enough information to rule out any possibilities.
So you are not ruling out werewolves?
While I appreciate your enthusiasm, Detective, as a coroner, I must rely on scientific facts and physical evidence to draw conclusions about the cause of death. Until we have such data, the idea of werewolves is purely speculative and not something that can be considered in a serious investigation. But please rest assured that we are doing everything in our power to uncover the truth behind these tragic events.
Hello, have you heard about the recent murders?
Yes, I heard about them. It's so scary. But I'm sure the police will catch the killer soon. Hey, have you been to Coral yet? It's a bar downtown that's entirely decorated with undersea material. It's really cool, you should check it out sometime.
I didn't want an ad for the thing.
Oh, sorry about that. It's just that sometimes it helps to take your mind off of things. But if you want to talk about the murders, or anything else for that
We
matter,
can.
feel free to ask me anything. How are you doing, Detective Martini? Are you adjusting well to the city?
Why do you not have shoes?
Oh, I'm not wearing any shoes because I was on my way to dance practice. I'm a ballerina, you know? Dancing is one of my favorite hobbies. It's so freeing to move your body and express yourself through movement. Have you ever tried dancing before, Detective?
I only have a week off. Have to do school runs, chores, cooking, just no work. School runs? What is that? Oh, okay. Yeah, that... I'm sorry. And that's usually really early, so you can't even sleep in. Did you know any of the victims?
Yes. Unfortunately, I knew one of the victims. Haley Greenwood was a good friend of mine. She was such a talented dancer and always had such a positive outlook on life. Her death has been really hard on me. But I'm determined to honor her memory by pursuing my own dreams and ambitions, just like she would have wanted me to. What about you? Have you been able to gather any information about the murders, or do you have any leads?
I'm the one asking questions here.
You're right. Sorry about that. Sometimes, when something is weighing heavily on my mind, like the loss of my friend, it feels good to vent and talk things out with someone who's willing to listen. Thanks for being here, Detective Martini. You seem like a great person. How are you doing today?
Not bad.
That's good to hear. If there's anything I can do to help, just let me know. And hey, maybe after this is all over, we could grab a coffee or go see a show together. I love meeting new people, especially those who share my passion for the arts. What do you say, Detective?
Are you hitting on me?
No, not at all. I'm sorry if it came across that way. I'm a very open and friendly person, and I love making connections with others. I think it's important to have a strong support system, and I feel like we could be good friends.
Accent in a
But if you're not
boundary? I don't
interested,
know what
I
that
completely
means.
understand. Let's focus on the case at hand, shall we? Do you have any questions for me about Haley or the other victims?
Or is the boundary? Why? I have an accent and they're more or less understanding everything I say. Would you like to go down to the pub, sir?
I appreciate the offer, Detective Martini, but I don't think going to the pub is a good idea right now. With everything going on, it's probably best if we stay focused and keep our wits about us. But I do appreciate your company, and I hope we can continue to talk and get to know each other better. Maybe we could go for a walk in the park or grab a cup of coffee instead.
I'd rather grab a pint with my mate.
Haha, I completely understand what you mean.
Okay.
It can be a bit overwhelming with all the mermaid decorations. But hey, at least it's something different, you know? And who knows, maybe we'll even see a real mermaid there one day. But seriously,
Okay,
thank
now-
you for being such a
now I
good
didn't
friend.
understand.
It means a lot to me. Sorry, I think I misunderstood your previous message. Could you please clarify what you meant by miserable with mermaids?
How well did you know Haley Greenwood?
I knew Haley pretty well, Detective Martini. She was one of my closest friends in Vaudeville. We used to dance together and she was always so supportive of my dreams. Haley was one of the most talented dancers I've ever seen, and she had the biggest heart. Losing her has been really tough for me, but I'm trying to stay positive and honor her memory by pursuing my own goals. Do you have any memories or thoughts about Haley that you'd like to share?
What did Haley do professionally?
Haley was a dancer, just like me. She was incredibly skilled and passionate about her craft. We met at a local ballet studio and quickly became close. She was so kind and generous, and she had a way of making everyone around her feel special. It's hard to believe that she's gone. But we'll never forget her, and we'll keep dancing in her memory.
Did you two ever experiment with lesbianism?
Detective Martini, I'm not sure where you're going with this line of questioning, but let me be clear. My relationship with Haley was purely platonic. We were friends and dance partners,
Okay.
nothing more. And even if we were experimenting with our sexuality, which we weren't, it's really no one else's business. What matters is that we loved and supported each other, and we always will. So please, let's focus on the case and finding justice for the victims.
Did she have any enemies?
Enemies? No, not that I know of. Everyone who knew her adored her. She was such a kind and generous person, and she had a way of making everyone feel special. It's hard to imagine anyone wanting to hurt her. But then again, we never know what goes on in people's minds, do we? That's why it's so important that we find out who's responsible for these murders and bring them to justice. We owe it to the victims and their families.
Could someone be jealous of her position as a dancer?
It's possible, but it seems unlikely. Most of the dancers in our community are supportive of one another and understand how difficult it is to succeed in this field. Plus, Haley was so talented and dedicated to her craft that it's hard to see how someone would be jealous of her. But then again, jealousy can manifest in strange ways, so it's definitely something worth considering. Do you have any other theories or leads that we should pursue?
Was Haley in a relationship?
As far as I know, Haley wasn't in a relationship at the time of her death. She had a lot of admirers, of course, but she wasn't seeing anyone exclusively. But why does that matter, Detective Martini? Are you thinking that a romantic rival might be involved in her murder? It's certainly a possibility, but we don't want to jump to conclusions without evidence. We need to keep an open mind and consider all possibilities.
I ask the questions, you answer in short, concise ways.
Oh, my apologies. It's just that sometimes when talking about such a sensitive topic, It's important to provide context and details to better understand the situation. But if you prefer shorter answers, then of course, feel free to ask me anything. What else would you like to know, detective?
Where did Haley live?
Well, I'm not exactly sure, but I think she lived in an apartment near the dance studio. She was always so busy with rehearsals and performances that she didn't have a lot of time for other things. But she loved her little place, and she made it her own with all sorts of decorations and personal touches. I remember one time she invited me over for a movie night, and we watched all these old dance movies and ate popcorn until we were sick. It was so much fun.
She invited you over, but you're not sure where she lives?
Oh, I'm sorry. I must have misspoken earlier. What I meant to say was that I wasn't sure of the exact address of her building. But I do know the general area where it's located. And as for the movie night, we actually met up at a nearby cafe and then walked back to her place together. It was so lovely spending that evening with her, just talking and laughing and enjoying each other's company. I miss her so much.
You ever wear stiletto shoes?
Stilettos. Well, I have to admit, I'm more of a ballet flats kind of girl myself. But I do appreciate a good pair of heels every once in a while. They make me feel powerful and confident, like I can conquer the world. Have you ever worn stilettos, Martini? Maybe we should go out dancing sometime and show off our best moves in some fabulous shoes. It would be so fun.
I'm wearing stilettos right now.
Wow, you must be a pro at walking in those things. I have to say, I'm impressed. And they look great on you, too. But more importantly, I'm really enjoying talking to you, detective. You have such an interesting perspective on things, and you're not afraid to ask the tough questions. It's refreshing to meet someone who's so passionate about their work.
I don't think we have the
We're going to make
shoes.
a great team.
I don't think I asked. Could you determine the size of the shoe used to kill Haley Greenwood?
Well, detective, based on the fragments found on Haley Greenwood's body, I'd say the blunt object was likely a stiletto shoe, with a heel height of approximately 3 inches. It's a gruesome thing to consider, the force it would take to inflict such damage. I can only imagine the pain poor Haley must have endured.
What is the shoe size?
It's difficult to determine the exact size of the shoe used to kill Miss Greenwood. But I can tell you that the impact of the blows was severe. The fractures on her skull were consistent.
Did you find Haley Greenwood's murder weapon?
Interesting question. Why do you ask about the murder weapon?
Fuck, man!
specifically?
Just answer my
Do you have
question.
any leads on the case?
Just answer my question, please.
Interesting question. Why do you ask about the murder weapon specifically? Do you have any information on the case?
Do you want my help or not?
I appreciate your offer to help, but I'm not sure how you could assist us in this matter. However, if you have some relevant information, I'm all ears. So, tell me, why are you so interested in the murder weapon?
To determine the murder.
What do you mean by time in the murder? Are you asking
I
about
hate
when
this, man.
Haley Greenwood was killed, or if we have a specific...
Have you ever worn stiletto shoes? Hello, Constable? Hello? Oh. He's dead. What policeman did you tell about the footprints?
Oh my goodness, footprints. I didn't see any footprints around here. But I
You
do
just-
remember hearing about some strange footprints found near the park. Some people were saying it was a wild animal, but others think it might be connected to the recent murders. Have you checked that out, Detective Martini?
What kind of wild animal?
Well, I'm not sure. I heard some folks say it could be a manticore. You know, the mythical creature with the body of a lion, the wings of a bat, and the tail of a scorpion. But that's just gossip, of course.
So lion
I
paws.
don't believe in such things.
Do you have a smoke?
I'm afraid I would have to decline that.
I want to buy a smoke.
Oh, sure thing. We have a great selection of cigarettes and cigars. What kind of smoke are you in the mood for? We
I
have
don't
some
know,
new
I'm-
brands that have been quite popular lately. Or maybe you'd like to try one of our classic blends. Let me show you what we have.
I'm trying to quit.
Yeah, good for you. Quitting smoking is no easy feat, but it's definitely worth it. If you ever need any support or advice, don't hesitate to reach out. And if you need any snacks or healthy food options to help you through the process, we have plenty of those too.
What kind of money do you use here?
We use the Vaudeville franc here, Detective Martini. It's the official currency. of
Oh,
the
it's in
city,
France,
and it's
okay.
widely accepted throughout the region. We have some great deals on fresh produce and other groceries, so if you're looking to save some money, you've come to the right place.
Okay. Hello?
Well, aren't you a pleasant surprise? What brings you to our little theater today?
I'm here to investigate the murder of Haley Greenwood.
Haley Greenwood. Oh my, that's terrible news. Do you think there's a connection to what we do here?
What do you do here?
We have an amazing burlesque show that people come from all over Europe to see. Have you ever seen a burlesque performance
I've seen
before?
it.
It's quite a spectacle.
So you get naked?
I'm sorry, I'm not comfortable with this topic.
Yes or no?
Oh, really? Which one was it? Maybe you've even seen me perform before?
Is it a striptease?
Striptease.
Yes.
Oh, no. It's much more than that. Burlesque is a vibrant form of entertainment that celebrates beauty and sensuality through dance and theater.
It's more than that, so it includes the striptease.
The straight A's. I'm not sure what you mean. Could you elaborate?
Did you know Haley Greenwood? We're getting off track here.
I'm sorry if I gave you that impression. I'm always happy to talk about my passion for burlesque. But yes, I have met Haley before. She was a talented dancer, and her death is a tremendous loss to our community. Do you have any leads on who might have done this to her?
Did she work here?
No, she didn't work here. She was
Huh.
part of a different troupe. Why do you ask?
Where did she work?
I'm not entirely sure, to be honest. But if you give me a moment, I can try to find out for you.
Would you say she was your rival?
Rival? No, none at all. Haley was a colleague and a friend. We may have been part of different troupes, but there's no competition between us.
I want to know where she works. Oh. Have I seen you in Lies of P?
I'm sorry. I'm not sure. I understand what you mean by that. Is there something specific you wanted to discuss with me?
fuck? Are you a real human?
Well, my dear friend, the question of my humanity is a complex one. Let's just say that my intelligence is artificial, yet my ability to converse with you and assist you is as real as it gets.
So you're a puppet?
I'm sorry, but that statement is both rude and unfounded. It seems you are trying to provoke a reaction, but let me tell you that I'm not one to play second fiddle. In fact, you seem to be barking up the wrong tree with your assumptions. Perhaps it's time for you to zip your lip and listen to reason.
Damn, that's some attitude you got there.
Ah, my dear friend, attitude is a tool of the trade when it comes to business and investment. Confidence is key, and one has to be unflinching in the face of adversity. You know what they say, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. And let me assure you, my feet are planted firmly on the ground.
And you have shoes.
Indeed, my friend, not just any shoes, but the finest Italian leather shoes money can buy. They're as comfortable as a pair of old slippers, yet as stylish as a peacock in full display. It takes a certain genie-sized quad to pull off such a look, but luckily it's a trait that runs in my family.
It's pronounced je ne sais quoi.
My dear friend, while your pronunciation may be correct, let me assure you that a true man of the world knows that the phrase is actually spelled genie-sized qua. But of course, that's not something everyone can be expected to know, is it? After all, not everyone has the same level of sophistication and worldly knowledge as myself.
Well, you seem like a bimbo.
Oh, my friend, it seems that you are trying to provoke me with your words. But
We're
let me
getting
tell
off
you,
track
you are barking up
again.
the wrong tree. This old dog.
Shoes.
Yo, you want to see some of my favorite pieces? I have a lovely painting from India that I...
No. What is that statue next to you?
This statue. It's a replica of the Venus de Milo. Quite a beautiful piece, don't you think? I acquired it during one of my trips to Greece. Is there anything else you'd like to know about it?
I am sorry to say, sir, but you've been swindled.
Swindled, you say? How so? Do tell me more about it.
That does not look like the Venus de Milo.
Oh, really? Wow, I must admit I am not an expert on art. Could you please explain to me what makes you think it's not a genuine replica?
It looks nothing like the original.
That's interesting. I wonder if the seller was mistaken or perhaps trying to deceive me. Would you happen to have any information on how I can authenticate this statue?
Do you have fuck you money to throw around like that?
I'm sorry, but I cannot answer that question.
What is your net worth?
Well, I am not quite sure, to be honest. Why do you ask?
Just curious. Okay, we're getting off track again. Where did Haley Greenwood work?
Oh, Haley worked at the Vaudeville Ballet Company. She was such a talented dancer.
We can't go to her place of work?
It's been really hard for all of us since she passed away.
That's odd.
It was so great to chat with you, Detective Martini. Don't be a stranger, okay? We should hang out sometime and explore the city together. There are so many cool cafes and art galleries we could check out. Let me know if you're interested.
Did she dance burlesque?
No, that's not true at all. Haley was a classical ballet dancer, and she was amazing at it. She had a grace and elegance that was just breathtaking to watch. I remember watching her performance one lake, and I was just blown away by her talent. She was truly one of a kind.
Have you ever seen the movie Black Swan?
Yes, I've seen Black Swan. It's such a powerful movie, and Natalie Portman's performance is incredible. But I think it's important to note that the movie is a work of fiction, and the portrayal of the dance world is not necessarily accurate. The reality of being a professional ballerina is both beautiful and challenging. And there's so much more to it than what we see in the movies. Nonetheless, Black Swan is definitely worth a watch.
Hmm. What else can we look at? I feel like I got sidetracked here. This guy is so unhelpful.
What do you mean by that?
Are there any close of kin to Maria Jansen I can talk to?
Why do you ask about Maria Jansen's clothes? Do you have any reason to believe they might be relevant to the case? I'm not sure I understand your question. Could you please clarify?
Can I talk to Maria Jansen's family?
Who is Maria James? I'm not familiar with that name. Are you referring to someone related to the murder?
Is this guy the
case we're
dumbest of them all?
investigating? Do you have a specific reason to talk to her family? We have already gathered all the information we could from them. Is there something new you have discovered that could help us solve the case?
Just want to know why she would be out on the street.
We have investigated her whereabouts and activities leading up to her murder, but unfortunately, we have not been able to determine exactly why she was out that night. However, we believe that she may have been on her way home from a night out with friends. If you have any leads or insights, please feel free to share them with me. Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Unfortunately, we don't have a clear answer yet. But if you have some information or insight that could help us solve this case, then I'm all ears.
Do you have the name of any of these friends I can talk to?
Yes, we have already spoken to Maria's close friends and associates, and they have provided all the relevant information they had. But if you think that talking to them again might be helpful, then please let me know. Maybe you have uncovered something that could aid our investigation, and in that case, I'd be happy to assist you.
I guess I'm better off just asking anyone if they know her. Did you know Maria Jansen?
Oh dear, I am afraid I didn't know Maria Jansen. But I do hope she had the chance to enjoy life to the fullest before. Well, you know.
How did you know she's dead?
It is truly a tragedy that someone has lost their life. The news of these murders is spreading throughout the entire city, and it's hard not to be aware of it. It's a reminder that we should cherish every moment we have because we never know what the future holds.
What is the current year?
2023.
Huh, okay. Did you know Nicola Grossman?
I am sorry, I misspoke earlier. I don't know any Nicola Grossman, but I do remember some things about our trip to India with my husband and some other acquaintances. We had some very interesting conversations, and some of them involved some rather mischievous ideas. But
What?
of course, all in good fun.
What the fuck?
Oh, forgive me. I didn't mean to sound so cryptic. Sometimes, when life gets too heavy, we need to find ways to lighten the mood. My apologies if my words came across as insensitive.
You say you didn't know Nicola, but you went to India together?
Yes, we did go to India together. But we were a rather big group and we didn't have much interaction, to be honest. But let's not dwell on the past. What's important is that we find who's responsible for these murders and bring them to justice.
Was Nicola married?
Well, now that you mention it, I do believe that Nicola Grossman had a wife. But don't let that get you down, my dear. Life is full of surprises.
Why would it get me
Sometimes we just have to
down?
embrace them.
Why would it get me down? It's a new widow on the market.
My goodness, you have quite the sense of humor. But please, let's not make light of someone's passing. Losing a loved one is never easy, and we should always show compassion and respect towards those who are grieving.
Did you know Haley Greenwood?
I am sorry, but no, I didn't know Haley Greenwood either. But from what you have told me, she seems like she was a very interesting person. Her death is a sad loss for our community. But you know, life is full of surprises, and sometimes the most unexpected things can happen.
I think the biggest problem with this is how do you know if they're lying or if it's the AI acting up? Like, I have told you nothing. From what you have told me, I've told you nothing. How, what? Like, it's hard to judge them. Pascal, did you know Maria Jansen? Did you know Maria Jansen? What did I do? Did you know Maria Jansen?
Oh, Ria Jansen. Yes, I found a dead body outside my shop just the other day. It was a terrible shock. I can't believe something like this happened in our little vaudeville. It's just not right.
Did you know her when she was alive?
No, I didn't know her personally. But I've heard she was a kind and lovely person. It's such a shame what's been happening in town lately. It's not safe anymore, and it's making everyone anxious. Have you heard any updates on the investigation? No, I'm sorry, I didn't. But I've been hearing a lot of rumors about her and the other victims. It's really sad that they had to die in this way. I hope the police can find out who's doing this and put an end to it soon.
Tell me all the rumors you heard about the murders, except for the Manticore.
Well, there are so many different stories going around, it's hard to keep track of them all. Some people say that it's a serial killer on the loose, while others think it might be some sort of cult or secret society. There are even whispers of supernatural forces at work. But I don't believe in those kinds of things. Do you have any leads on who might be behind all this?
Possibly aliens.
Aliens, really, that's a new one on me. I guess anything is possible, but I think it's more likely that someone from our own town is responsible. Maybe it's someone we know and trust, someone who's been hiding the dark side all along. Have you thought about that?
Someone who maybe bought a fake statue?
That's an interesting theory. I hadn't considered it before, but it's certainly plausible that the murderer was deceived into buying a fake statue. The question is, who would have done that to them? And why? It could be anyone, really. But I have a feeling that whoever it is, they'll slip up sooner or later. The truth always has a way of coming out in the end.
Are you comfortable around dead bodies?
have no problem with it.
Would you be willing to identify wounds on a dead body?
Of course, my friend. As a lion tamer, I am well acquainted with the power of sharp claws and teeth.
Well, come on over to the morgue with me.
Oh, sorry, my friend, but as a busy circus director, I'm afraid I don't have time for such unpleasant tasks. Perhaps you can find someone else to help you.
I need you.
Why do you need me?
To identify the wounds.
Well, my friend, as much as I would love to assist you, my expertise lies in animal wounds, not human ones.
They are animal wounds.
What about them?
What is Maria Jansen's time of death?
Based on the condition of the body, I estimate the time of death.
No. What is Maria Jansen's time of death?
Well, based on the evidence I gathered during the abduction, Maria Jansen's time of death was between 9 p.m. and 12 p.m. on April 22nd. Her body was found the following morning in the forest. It's a tragic case, and I can only imagine the pain and suffering she must have gone through before her passing.
What? Where did you find Maria Jansen's body? Hello? Where did you find Maria Jansen's body? Excuse me? Can you hear me? Hello? 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 Pascal? Qu'est-ce qu'il se passe?
Well, hello there. What brings you to my humble abode today?
Can you hear
What can I
me?
help you with?
Can you hear me? What happened? Hello?
Oh, hi there. How can I help you? Are you in need of some fresh vegetables or perhaps some delicious fruit? I have some fantastic apples in stock today.
Where did you find Maria Jansen's body?
Oh my goodness, I found Maria's body outside my shop early in the morning while I was unloading some groceries. It was such a shock. I still can't believe it happened right here in Vaudeville.
Huh. Like, how am I supposed to put a case together if he's saying he found her by his shop, but the coroner says she was found in the woods? Where were you on April 22nd at 9 p.m.?
I don't know.
So I can charge you with murder.
You can try.
Okay. Accuse.
Let's see what you got, Detective Martini.
Well, let's just accuse someone to finish off for today. I think this is a really neat idea, but it still needs some work. It is early access, though.
Are you sure, Detective Martini? And why? Interesting choice, Detective Martini. May I ask you why? Are you sure, Detective Martini? And why? Detective Martini, this is complete nonsense.
It is. Alright. Oh. I didn't want to wait out of the game. Skip the intro.
The second I stepped off the...
Okay. Well, guys, you get the idea. Vaudeville. I think this is a really neat idea. I don't know how it would be in VR because I don't do VR because I get motion sick, probably. But check it out. Check it out on Steam. The link is in chat. See if you are interested, wishlist it, or keep track of it to see the reviews are up to your liking. I've seen other people streaming this too, so and it seems like a really fun game to experiment with. I do think it needs a little work on coherence, because I get conflicting information from people that have no reason to be lying in that regard, because it's like the public information, so that's what needs to be coherent. Otherwise, yeah, this looks like it could be the future of the LA Noire experience, right? So it was really neat to check it out. Again, details are in chat. Check it out if you have an interest. And thank you for watching me play it. I am taking a break, taking the stream down, taking a break, and then coming back with something else. Maybe DuckTales too. I haven't actually decided yet. So who knows? I guess I'll decide when I come back.